Hey folks, Squidly here. I'm going to do a quick down and dirty OBS compressor and audio limiting tutorial. So basically, that's just my equalizer. Not doing much on that, but this is, we're not going to get too into like what compressors are. Just going to kind of go through like what settings I like to use. I'm a big less is more kind of person. So I usually go with a mild ratio. I like to start with a compressor pretty early in my chain and then using a limiter. Sometimes in other audio work, I'll use multiple compressors, and you can do that as well if you find the results to not be favorable with one. I always tell people if you're trying to get a result with an audio compressor and it's just getting too harsh and just too squashy, try using another one and tone both of them back, both in like ratio and threshold and just overall, affecting. And, try to use two of them in a chain. I like to use the kind of the metaphor of water going uphill or like up a staircase, and you're using these little steps to kind of bring the water up as you go. So I usually use a pretty light ratio. I recommend not really going past 4:1, but there's really no rules in audio. The only rule that I really adhere to is you kind of want to stay around -10 with your overall, but that's more of a broadcast thing. Anyway, fast attack, you're going to want to set your threshold to taste. So what I usually do is you can kind of go off your meter, and you can see down here if you have your meters calibrated the same way. I don't know if there's a difference that you can do in OBS, but I start mine around -30, so that's about right here. And I think that this line is OBS trying to tell us that the compressor is working, though it's odd because it comes up from the bottom instead of the top. Maybe that's RMS. Either way, -30 is about where I start, so that it starts. That's where the compressor is going to begin affecting. So basically, anything past -30 is going to experience a 3.5:1 compression ratio. So basically, all a compressor really does, an audio compressor, is it takes the loud stuff and makes it quieter. And then when we boost up our output gain here, I'm going a little aggressive because I like to use my output gain as a way to, get more gain, for lack of a better term. Basically, the principle in gain staging is like I like to start kind of low on my input side and then make it up with software gain. But that gets us into a whole nother conversation about noise floors and gain staging. But anyway, you can set this to taste. Your output gain is going to be your makeup gain, basically. So how much you attenuated against what was going up past -30, you're then going to boost up the overall level, thus making the quieter stuff louder. Release, you can go kind of short or long. If you hear, you'll want to set that to taste, because depending on your voice and kind of your cadence, you may find that the release is either too short or too long. And if it's too long, you'll definitely hear it. Like you'll hear how like the end of your phrases, even if you're kind of getting quieter, is continuing to stay loud, and it'll sound unnatural. As far as the rest of my chain goes, I run a couple of noise suppressions. But the order does matter. This is what I use. I don't say that everyone should use this exact order. There's different methodologies to what you're trying to do, but my basic idea is I like to compress kind of my initial noise suppressed signal, hit it again with a heavier noise suppression, and then hit it with the limiter. Now, the limiter is very important. You want the limiter basically to prevent you from digitally clipping. Now, if you're clipping in your microphone, that can be, entertaining depending on the context you're doing. When somebody screams and it fuzzes out. Unfortunately, in OBS, if you clip OBS going to Twitch, it's not going to sound distorted. It's going to just cut out or sound really bad. So I recommend running at least a -2. Basically, what this limiter does is it just says, hey, nothing's going past -2, which is how down here you can see I'm going into the red, but I'm not hitting 0. Which is good because you don't want to hit 0 in OBS necessarily. And now you may have different results. Like I said numerous times, there are no rules in audio. Use what works best for you. I do need to talk to OBS about adding maybe an output fader here so we can see our actual master mix and what our level is and tune that to taste. But until then, this is what we have to work with anyway. This is Squidly with a quick down and dirty compression tutorial. I'm going to leave that in just for fun. But anyway, check out my other stuff. Got some Baldur's Gate videos coming out soon. And yeah, any other audio questions, feel free to throw them at me. Have a good one.